What's up, guys? It's another day here on SPPTV. Today we're going to start on the 8.8. I'm going to start pulling it apart and get ready to narrow it. I want to get it apart today so that I can order the axles. Clayton is here. Help out. And Mike probably is on his way. Who knows what he's doing. But I'm sure he'll make an appearance at some point. So yeah, let's get to it.
Look at that.
Nice and clean. I noticed that.
Put some pantyhose on there and filtered.
Yeah, the oil is definitely pretty clean considering
It's like brand new.
Yeah, good. Other than I just dropped a bunch of dirt inside there.
Pantyhose.
Maybe that means it was maintained well. Alright, now we gotta start taking her apart. I guess the cover, the brakes gotta come off. Yeah. So much for not having a strong impact. Look at that. Blew the bolt right off.
Must have been fractured.
Oh man, this thing is so rusty. This rear end cover. Wouldn't it be cool if they made some kind of...
What are we going to do with all that?
I don't know, wouldn't it be cool if they had some kind of rust remover stuff that could just soak the parts in? I mean, I could sandblast them. You know, that takes forever.
We're on a deadline.
Yeah. All these TV shows, you know, like Fast and Loud and stuff, is they make everyone think there's a huge deadline on getting a car running. Like, you know, it gets done when it gets done. It's got 373 gears, which I already knew. There's one caliper off. She's pretty rusty. I'm hoping I can save these. I don't want to really buy new ones if I don't have to.
There's a brake home / cam home.
Well, I'm not going to take the brake thing apart. If it works, it works. Okay, and then the rotors next. The rotors are garbage because I got new ones. I bought new rotors and tabs off eBay, the same as I got the front ones. Oh, wow! Looks like I'm gonna have to get new emergency brakes. These ones are kind of no good. All right, so the next thing to do is to get the pin out, and then the C-clips, and then take the axles out. Just a little 8mm here bolt. Oh, I hate the smell of gear oil. Ugh. It's disgusting. There we go, and there's the pin. Sometimes this breaks, and if it breaks, you're kind of screwed. You end up having to cut the pin out. I've done it before. It's a real pain in the ass, so you better hope it comes out. Coming? Oh, look at that. Nice. Nice and easy. Then you pull this pin out. Give the axle a slap in. Okay, well, let's first turn the carrier there. And then you should have to just push the axle in. There's a little C-clip. Screwdriver. And you just push it, and now it fell inside the rear end. Same with that one. Oh, that one's right there. Get this magnet. I'll pull it out. C-clip just looks like this. There's one on each side. Just like that, and you pull the axle out. This one's longer and this one's shorter, and that's because the 8.8 is staggered on one side. One axle's longer on the Explorer end. So what a lot of guys do is they'll just cut this side of the housing down to this length, use 2 of these axles, and they're good to go. My issue is that my rear end has to be actually narrower than this, so I have to get custom axles. So if anybody needs a short side axle, I got one. Now we're going to take this backing plate off. There's 4 bolts. Oh yeah, it looks like we're going to have to take these brake shoes apart. I already did the other side. We have to take these shoes off, which obviously we have to take off anyways because they're no good. All this stuff is really rusty too. So hopefully we can either have to replace it or
All that salt?
Or get some way to clean this stuff. Now this, oh, I'm gonna have to see. Good thing I didn't just throw these away. I was gonna throw these away. I don't want to use these shields, but
Well, that's what it holds.
actually that's what holds the brake shoes on. So I'm gonna have to cut this out and keep just this center part and get rid of the outer part because that's what holds the brake shoes on apparently. So that's good to know. Okay, so now that those are off, just give her a little tappy tap, and that's it.
Ever rusty.
Super rusty. Now we're going to take the center section out, the posi unit. Clayton already took these off. So make sure you put them back on the same side they came off of.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the shims here. And the shims. Or we can, once we pull it out, we can zip tie them or something so they stay on the right side. Teamwork. Okay.
Ready?
Yep. Ugh.
Oh, it smells good.
Oh, smell. Hate gear oil.
It smells good.
Gear oil is the worst smell ever.
And this pinion can come out right now, right?
Yeah. And then all this rear end stuff I'll put away for now because we don't need it. Right, need to tap it. Oh, here, put these back on first. All we gotta do is knock the pinion out, which the yoke is already off. I took it off before. And then the rear end will be stripped. So let's get a mallet. Hope I'm saying that right, mallet, not something else.
I can say Malay.
Yeah, I don't know in that last video what I was doing there when I said, in that previous video where I said it was a pipe.
Yeah, no, we call it a pipe wrench.
We call it a pipe wrench too, I just couldn't think of what.
Rob had a mini stroke.
Or not. Oh. Is it going?
No. That's crazy.
I guess we could just leave it in there too. I think we'll just leave it in there, at least for now anyways. I don't know why it's so tight on that bearing. We decided to switch to a piece of brass and a bigger hammer, and it's coming out now.
I close my eyes on every strike.
And then it shouldn't actually go all the way through because the,
Oh yeah.
the bearing will hold it. There we go, that's better. Alright, so now we got the housing down to a bare housing. There's a lot of scaly rust on here we got to scrape off obviously. We have to cut this bracket, this bracket, this bracket on both sides has to come off. And then we got to figure out what we're going to do about this rust. Oh look,
Are you
Mike's
live right now? We're recording.
here. Yeah. What's that?
Evapo-rust, a cool company
Super safe rust
that saw our
remover.
videos and thought we might like this stuff and be able to use it.
Wow. We were just talking about how we're going to get rid of all this rust. Because we have all this rusty stuff
Rusty
here.
cover, rusty
Like
bracket.
this rear end cover that's like super rusty. And all this brake hardware. It's also super rusty. So I was thinking about sandblasting it. But you know what a mess that makes.
I read about this stuff a bit on the internet and there's a few things. It's pretty simple to use. Apparently you just soak it in here. You could even just like drop it right in this bucket and then let it sit for overnight-ish, they said. It may be a shorter period of time if it's not so rusty.
Probably depends on how rusty it is, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty simple, and then you just rinse it off after and dry and it should be done. They also say it's non-toxic, non-corrosive, safe on all types of stuff. So like even those brake calipers.
Like it wouldn't affect the rubber?
Yeah, that rubber should be okay to just put right in there. We're gonna throw them in assembled, just like this with the hose and everything, and the bracket and the line. And apparently it's supposed to be safe for it.
It's worth a try.
Yeah, so.
Be easy to clean it better, like I said, better than sandblasting it or grinding it or something. Or buying new ones for that matter.
Yeah, does not harm the unrusted surface. So if you had a part for a classic car, something that still had original paint, you were looking for like the patina kind of thing, apparently you can put that in there. The paint will still be there, it'll just take the rust away. One thing that instantly came to mind for me when I found out about this Evapo-rust stuff was this right here, the roof of the Jimmy, because it has this surface rust stuff that, you know, you could remove and it'd still have the white original paint and look patina. The question is, how would you apply it? And my idea was if you made a frame, you could use this rain gutter, seal it off there, and then basically pour in enough of the solution that it filled up this little bit and had enough. And then you just got to cover it off and let it sit for 12 hours. I think it's definitely doable. I know it's one of my crazy ideas again. This product definitely has a lot of possible uses.
And then what do you do with the stuff? Is it like, it's not harmful to the environment, is
Water
it?
soluble, they say, and biodegradable. So as long as the only stuff you're putting in here, it's like stuff that doesn't have grease or oil on it that you wouldn't put in your sewer, as long as it's metal and you're just removing the iron, the rust minerals, that stuff, you can even pour it on your lawn apparently, and it's supposed to be good for your lawn because it's like fertilizer with all the minerals in it.
Can you drink it?
Apparently you might even be able to drink it.
I probably wouldn't recommend it, but
Yeah.
probably doesn't taste good.
1 gallon of this stuff, apparently, we got the big one, but 1 gallon will derust up to 300 pounds of heavily rusted steel, they say.
300 pounds?
300 pounds, yes.
Wow.
You can use it on rusted tools, car parts, antiques, guns, anything that rusts, really. We're pretty excited about this. This could really help us out in so many different ways with automotive stuff that we do.
Well, it's
other
a time
than
saver, right?
Yeah.
Like instead of standing in front of a sandblast booth, you
Well,
can
yeah.
do other things while it's...
de-rusting itself. Well, I wish we would have had this, because obviously I did a bunch of rust repair before, or not rust repair, but rust removal like that,
parts,
where I had
yeah.
to use a wire brush or a sandblaster, and it's a pain in the ass. This should be awesome, so should we throw some stuff in there?
Yeah, let's get her going and see what this stuff can do.
Dump tank.
Alright guys, so here's the parts before shots here. You can see the stuff is pretty rusty, typical stuff when you're pulling parts off an old Diff or any old suspension component off an old car.
Alright, so let's put some of this stuff in this stuff, and then watch the magic happen.
We got all the rusty stuff laid out here ready to go in.
Maybe the cover first makes sense?
Yeah, it's flat.
Inside out, outside in?
I'm thinking, I would put it,
Shit, it won't fit that way.
almost. Well, I'll just have to put it in, or put those first, I guess, then, but gotta,
Don't want to...
I mean, you can
Make
put
it
your
big.
hand in there, it's not gonna hurt you.
There we go.
She's in there, okay, good.
You can put this stuff in a different container, obviously, if you wanted to fit larger,
That banjo
flatter
flex
items
thing?
in it.
Yeah, I never loosened it. Like I said, I don't know if it would affect it if it got inside the caliper, but let's just say that we're not gonna try that.
You want all this hardware in there, Rob?
Yeah, we can throw that in now.
So we got all the nuts, bolts, springs, clips,
Oh, this is the-
pins.
Well, you know what, screw it, we're gonna just stick it in there. I'm gonna cut these lines off. I mean, if it's not supposed to hurt rubber and blah, 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 it's not gonna hurt the inside of the caliper.
Yeah, that's true.
So I can't
You
see
don't have a little strainer or something? Just throw them in?
just pour them in there.
Move. It got me in the eye a little bit there. It didn't hurt.
Yeah, luckily it's safe for you. You can get all over your skin if
See,
you
like-
want. Yeah. No, it's totally...
It feels kind of greasy, slimy kind of.
Now that we put the stuff in there especially, but
Doesn't smell bad.
there it is.
There it is. So now this is gonna have to sit
You're
overnight,
supposed to seal.
Well, I'm
seal
gonna
it
put
back
the
up
lid
with
on.
The lid back.
and then we're gonna let it sit till tomorrow. And then tomorrow we will come back and see what we can find out with this stuff and how it works. And then I don't know. I mean, maybe it'll miraculously de-rust it in 24 hours, and maybe we'll have to keep it for a couple days. I don't
Maybe the rubber hoses will be eaten to nothing.
know. Okay. Let me get over there. Now we got her spun around, we can pull this diff out of here.
Finally.
Getting closer to the end of this thing. All right, so the guys have gone home. It's a little later in the evening. I'm just out here screwing around. And I thought I would pull the tire off my car and try it on the truck so I can get an idea of how that size of wheel and tire fits, because I actually have another set of wheels, like some Chevy Rallies, that are exactly the same size as the wheels on my car. So I'm gonna throw the one on the back here just to get an idea how the clearance would be with a 275. Now this is a 15x9 rim with a 275 drag radial on it. You can see the size. With the 245s, the wheels that I have actually quite a bit of room. I guess we can go around to the other side. So you'll see here, I got like tons of room to go. But on this one here, I'm pretty much, I can't really go any narrower. Like, that's pretty good. I can put my finger in there, the tires aren't gonna rub, but I don't think I can really move it more than that. I expected I could narrow the rear end like an inch over what the S10 rear end is, but now I don't think I should. If I want to put a rim like this with a tire like this, as it is, I have enlarged wheel wells in the back of the box, and they're pretty much even, like they're tubbed out even with this frame rail. And so I measured from where the tub is to the outside of the body, and I have 13 inches. This from the frame to the outside of the tire is about 12, so that gives me clearance on the outside for these tires to clear the wheel well nice. If I narrow the rear end more, obviously it won't fit, and I would have to put a different offset rim. So I'm probably better off to just stick with the stock length of an S10 rear end, so that I can fit these on. And then, I mean, really, to put a 275 or a 255 or whatever normal radial tire on the back of this thing isn't gonna make it hook any better anyways. If I want it to hook up, I'm gonna have to put a drag radial like this on it. So I'll probably just stick with the tires that are on the back for just cruising around, and when I want to be serious or try to make it hook, I'll put the drag radials that I have on these 15-inch rims that I have. My other choice would be to ditch those rally wheels that I have and order some like aluminum wheels, and then go and like narrow the rear end an extra inch so I have more room to put a bigger radial tire on, and then just buy a rim with a little more offset. I'd like to be able to put a bigger radial on the back, or even a bigger drag radial on the 18s, which I can't really do if I don't narrow it. So maybe I will just go more, and then I'll just order rims. Like those rally wheels that I have, they're just rally wheels. It would probably be cooler if I had some nice aluminum wheels for it anyway. So now that I think about it, maybe I'll just end up ordering some wheels for it, for the back, for the drag radials. And I'll narrow the rear end like another inch. I think that's probably the better plan. It is the next day. I know you guys are waiting for the results of the Evapo-rust. The parts are soaking. The rear end cover wouldn't fit, so that's gonna have to be done separately. Now this stuff's been sitting in the Evapo-rust solution. It's actually been more than 24 hours, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I guess the longer you leave it in there, the better it'll clean it off if it's indeed super rusty. I actually did take a look at it yesterday, and it was looking pretty good.
I believe they recommend 24 hours, right?
Yeah, it says
or less, but I mean, you could leave it in, yeah, as long as you like.
It depends how rusty it is. I don't think leaving it in there longer is gonna...
Definitely won't hurt it.
Isn't gonna hurt it, so I'll just pull the pieces out.
Yes, the rubber hoses too, wow.
It looks pretty good.
It looks like the rust is gone and all that's left is just like dirt sludge.
Well, plus, it's not going to affect it. Like it's a part of like something like this is rusty, so it's pitted. So getting rid of the rust off it isn't going to get rid of all the pitting. It's just going to get the rust off, right?
Wow. And the rubber is mint. Look at that, guys. Brake hose and all this rubber. Looks like it actually cleaned it too. Perfect. Not brittle. Feels like mint.
I'm gonna stick my hand in here. Ooh, it's cold. Plus, I think it needs to be, wiped down too.
Yeah.
Like there's probably some.
Well, you put it, the official procedure, right, is to put it in here, rinse it off, and then dry it.
Yeah. So I think once it gets rinsed off, then it'll probably loosen up some stuff that might just be kind of sitting on it still. On these pieces, that must be the original paint.
Yeah.
The black paint, which you couldn't even see before because it was all rusty there. But what we'll do is we can go rinse it off and then take a look at it after.
Just notice my hands. It's all iron.
Well, yeah. So I think when it gets rinsed off, more of the stuff that it might look like there's still stuff on there, but I think a lot of that will just come off in the water rinse. You can see all the paint now. When before every single thing we put in here looked like rust, like straight up rust, and now it looks, you know, like it did when it was new, kind of. You know what I mean? Like the paint on the springs and that. It's pretty cool.
Just for reference, guys, this is how it looks right out of the bucket. We're gonna rinse it off, which is the next step. So it's not done yet. This is how it looks right now.
All right, guys. Well, we'll go rinse this stuff off and then we'll come back. We rinsed everything off like you're supposed to, and so now we'll kind of show you the results of what we see.
Look at that.
And now you got to remember what these looked like when we started. They were rusted, like super, super rusty. So I think it's pretty good. I mean, we could dunk them again. The thing is that it won't take paint off. So if you look at these, you can see the paint, the black paint on them.
Yeah.
So it's not going to take the paint off. So if there was rust under that paint, it's not going to take it off. It won't take anything off, any of the paint. It'll just take off the rust.
That's the main takeaway I have from it too. Everywhere, you know, did mint here, like it's like brand new basically.
Yeah.
But where there's this caked on shitty old paint, it took it down to the paint, but it didn't remove the paint, which is kind of the idea of the product as well. So it did as advertised.
Calipers are really good. They were super, super rusty, and it didn't affect any of the rubber or the seals or anything.
You can actually see there's still a bit of leftover, maybe from this angle, leftover silicone in there, still intact. Like,
which you couldn't really see before because it just looked like rust. Here's the springs for the emergency brake setup. Now all this stuff just looked like rust before. Now it looks like painted up. This is also part of the emergency brake setup. This is one that came out, but like some of this rust stuff on here, if you just scrape it a little bit, it actually comes off. So it might even be just loose. Like this one, I took it on the wire brush a little bit, and pretty much, you know, it looks like new other than
after like 30 seconds on there.
Yeah, like I just did a quick light cleanup to sort of see the difference. Now if this was just rust and I was trying to wire brush it, it would take forever and it wouldn't look like this. So it definitely makes it easy, something that you can just throw your parts in this bucket, let it sit overnight and come out, and then a little bit of prep work and it's ready for paint. Now something that I found really cool, this is a bolt that holds a backing plate on, or a nut I should say, which actually cleaned up really nice. They were super rusty, you can see. Now I really like these. This is the bolts that actually hold that on too. And if you take a look, you can see this blue paint, which is obviously like an assembly marking when they were putting it together to make sure that they knew that they tightened the bolts, which I think is really cool if you were restoring an old car like a Camaro or a Mustang or something like from the 60s, and you wanted to know, like guys who do full-on restos, they want to know where the paint marks were and all the like chalk markings on the control arms and stuff like that, and paint marks to show that it was assembled properly. So one good thing about using something like this versus sandblasting it is you're going to maintain all that stuff. So even to get down to this and go, oh, there's a blue marking there and it was this kind of blue, you take a picture, and then if you want to clean this up more to get the paint off by wire brushing it or sandblasting it or whatever, at least you're going to know where those factory markings were, which is super important to someone restoring a car that wants to put all those markings back. While this stuff takes the rust off, it doesn't take the paint off. So if you're restoring something like these, you know, you might, if it's a show car, you're going to still probably sandblast it because you want to get the whole paint off. But for me to put this in the sandblaster now and sandblast it, it's like 90% of the work is already done because the rust is gone for the most part, right?
Just the loose leftover little bit of paint.
Yeah. There is some rust in spots still that it hasn't taken off, which is understandable considering how rusty these were to start with. But I'm sure if we put it back in here for another 24 hours, it would probably continue to eat away at this rust. I mean, they say 24 hours, but that might be for something that's not as rusty as this rear end was, right? Like something that has some rust on it, you know, like lightly rusted, it would take that off like in no time at all.
This stuff is kind of worst case scenario as far as rustiness goes.
Well,
undercarriage stuff from
yeah.
a 20-plus-year-old vehicle.
Yeah, this stuff was really rusty, which is good because we want to prove that this stuff, or experiment to see if this stuff can actually take the rust off, and I think it did a pretty good job considering how rusty the stuff was and how it looks now.
It's also cool how you end up getting stuff like this exposed, the original number here, part number.
Oh yeah.
That before would have just been a rust blob, but yeah, with a little bit of handwork, and even if you put it back in, these would probably be like factory fresh.
Well, I think if you were to scrape some of that paint off and then dunk them back in so that it would eat away what's underneath the paint, right?
Again, this is just the parts right off the axle into the Evapo-rust solution here, and then taking them out, rinsing them and drying them, the instructions they give you with this stuff, so there you have it. That's the results.
That's it.
I would say they're pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with it. I think it's it definitely turned out well. Now I'm going to put that rear end cover in there and have to see what happens with that one.
Yeah, we're going to have some more stuff going in here, so stay tuned for some more videos about the Evapo-rust and the type of stuff it can do. I mean, really, there's so much stuff. Like, as soon as we got this stuff, I started thinking about all the different things we could use it for, and the possibilities are really endless. I mean, anything with rust, and the way it's so safe on the paint and the rubber, like we saw, especially with those calipers, it's that one of the takeaways I think is like it's super vicious on the rust, but nice on everything else, basically. It's a day later, and I just thought I would show this to you guys and insert it in the video when I'm editing it. This is one of the parts Rob put in there when we were finishing the video the other day. Look how mint that turned out. It's like a brand new part. This came off of an '84 Ford pickup truck at the junkyard. And this plastic thing obviously still intact because it's safe for that stuff. Really impressed. Just thought I'd show you guys that. Back to the video. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Evapo-rust for sending us this stuff. It's right up our alley like they figured it would be. And we're going to put it to a bunch more uses in the future. They also sent us some other products which we're going to show you guys coming up in upcoming videos. If you want to learn more about Evapo-rust and all the different products that they have, you can find them just by googling Evapo-rust, but there'll be a link in the description. Rob already threw some more parts in there, so we're going to have some more video coming up of what they clean up like.
For something that's not a caustic solution, like something that's biodegradable or, you know, like doesn't hurt the environment yet.
That you can stick your hand in.
Yeah, and yet it takes it off. My hand doesn't even stink like gross stuff. So that's pretty cool.
So make sure to go check out Evapo-rust website. We're definitely pretty impressed with this stuff, and you might be too. That's going to be all for this one, guys. So as always, like, share,
comment, and subscribe.
Needs more energy.
Comment and subscribe! Like that? Okay.
And we'll check you later.
Check you later.
What we're doing is we're building an industrial film, trying to give these guys everything they can get. I mean, that's it.